A bill that would have repealed the raises for the governor, lieutenant governor, cabinet members, and senators failed yesterday afternoon with a vote of 9 nays and 2 yeas. Meanwhile, a group called Guamanians for a Fair Government are urging elected leaders to repeal their raises via an online petition.
And I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican, I'm just a citizen. I'm just a teacher in a classroom who passes by every day, and it's just, it's just not right. So we started that online petition at change.org, and anybody, we encourage everyone, if you feel that our senators deserve the pay raise, then don't sign it.
Andre Bainham is a member of a new group called Guamanians for a Fair Government. This group has started an online petition urging lawmakers to repeal a bill that they passed and that the governor signed into law, giving raises to the governor, lieutenant governor, cabinet members, and senators themselves.
Repeal the law, do it over again, justify to the community why you feel you need to be paid the highest in the nation.
Bainham says that while Guam's elected and appointed leaders enjoy salary increases, the rest of the island suffers. Bainham points to this mass transit bus stop in Harmon. It has no shelter, just 2 benches that are surrounded by trash.
$400,000 in retro payments can build 10, maybe even 20 shelters for these people who are out here trying to just, get around on this island.
Yesterday, Senator Mike San Nicolas introduced a bill to repeal the raises. Acting Speaker B.J. Cruz called a special session to vote on the measure. Only Cruz and San Nicolas voted yes, so the bill failed with a vote of 2 yeas and 9 nays. Some senators were off island. After the vote failed, the governor's office sent a letter written by Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio to Acting Speaker Cruz saying that they support the pay raises. Tenorio writes that their administration has worked hard to fix the financial condition of GovGuam by doing things like paying out tax refunds. He also writes, quote, "The bottom line is that the salaries are deserved." The letter then further challenges Senator San Nicolas to introduce a bill that only removes raises for senators, but leaves raises intact for the governor, lieutenant governor, and their appointed cabinet members. As of news time, the petition had garnered 777 signatures.
Opponents of Guam Resource and Recovery Partners' proposed waste-to-energy plant came out in full force today, challenging the statements made by GRRP project consultant Dave Sablan, saying the plant will actually cost residents more money on top of the fact that it is not environmentally friendly. Guahan Waste Control Board Chairman Phil Flores, Santa Rita resident Ken Leon Guerrero, and CCU Chairman Simon Sanchez went before the Mayor's Council today, urging them to oppose the proposed waste-to-energy plant. All 3 agree that GRRP project consultant Dave Sablan's statements don't seem to add up.
But they have not come out with a plan, a real financial plan to tell us how much exactly it's going to cost.
In fact, Flores says there is more of an interest for GRRP in building an incinerator. He explains why.
More it costs, more money GRRP makes because they get a 15% ride on whatever the cost of construction is. So if the cost of construction is $100 million, they get 50% of $100 million, $15 million. If the cost is $200 million, they get $30 million. So where is their desire to bring the cost down when they make 15% every time it goes up?
Flores adds that it's not possible to save money by building an entirely new waste-to-energy plant because GovGuam would have to float another bond to be able to fund the project. On top of that, he points out, there's still the debt service on the Luzon landfill that the government is obligated to pay for.
For the GRP contracts, GBB estimates it'll go up to $399. Bill Whitman estimates it'll go up to $430 a ton. Why? Because you're paying for a new incinerator and you still have to pay for Lajong. I don't understand. Dave keeps saying that the cost is going to go down. He said on the radio yesterday it's going to go to $60 a ton for tipping fees. And then they said, well, what if you include Lajong? He thought, oh, $80 a ton. He's just making up numbers.
Leon Guerrero also notes that if the waste-to-energy plant is approved, GovGuam will have to pay close to $28 million to GRRP before the plant even opens.
And as soon as the legislature says, yes, we will do this, government of Guam is obligated to write a check to GRRP for $2.3 million. Right off the bat.
Sanchez, meanwhile, says based on a cursory review of the contract, it's not something GPA would ever agree to.
The first thing GPA said to me when they read this was, this doesn't look like any power purchase agreement GPA would ever bid out, much less sign. In our view, it would be a better investment of money and resources to focus on increasing recycling. What we love about recycling is no waste goes to any landfill. It leaves Guam.
And it's not a green project. If I'm burning this piece of paper instead of recycling it, that means I got to chop down another tree.
Flores also pointed out that the solid waste trend across the nation indicates that incinerators are no longer the preferred choice. He says in the last 20 years, there hasn't been a new incinerator plant built in the U.S. In fact, he says since 2000, 16 waste-to-energy plants have been shut down.
The long-closed Agana Library is expected to open within a month's time thanks to funding from the Department of the Interior and an emergency procurement to purchase air conditioning units. PNC's Betsy Brown reports.
The Nieves M. Flores Library has been shuttered for 3 months now after the 70-ton air conditioning unit used to cool the building broke down in September. Department of Chamorro Affairs Director Joseph Cameron says a new 70-ton unit is being procured for the facility through Department of Interior funding. However, it will take another 4 months for the unit to be delivered.
Notwithstanding, we would like to expedite further, and the graciousness of Interior, they have also included a part of my expenditure to go ahead and put split units, inverter split units, throughout the first, second, and third floor.
An emergency declaration signed by the governor this week will allow the split air conditioning units to be in place within 30 working days, allowing the Agana Library to open again. Once the 70-ton unit is installed, the library will still hold on to the split units for backup. Meanwhile, steps are being taken to preserve the library's collections.
We had industrial fans throughout all 3 floors, and we're spoiled. We like good aircon. So the blowing around of air was to circulate so that we don't have any molds or mildew build up. The good news, the archives area for all the old pictures and old documents already have a split unit in those rooms, so they're not in any way compromised.
And as for the unsightly appearance of the building's exterior, Cameron says that is being taken care of as well.
Yesterday we started water blasting the building, and Interior has also graciously accepted that we would repaint that whole building. But we're going to smooth off the rough surfaces that creates an algae-like sedimentation. So that would be a really nice facelift for the entire exterior.
And while the doors to this library remain closed, you can take advantage of extended hours at the Dededo, Barrigada, and Agate branches. Betsy Brown, PNC News.
An expansion to the Agana Library is expected to be completed in the next 9 months. A contract to design and build an annex was recently awarded to SK Construction and Giant Construction. A new interactive children's section and an internet cafe are part of the project. Chamorro Affairs Director Joseph Cameron says the expansion will allow the library to offer more programs for children and families.
It's an annex to the main library that allows children to be on a separate area so that they can be interactive. No more shh. Yeah, kids will be kids. And alongside that will be a cybertech cafe so that their parents can be in the general area during working hours or after working hours or on weekends. It'll be a place to come to. It's a sense of place for children to come to on the weekends as well with their parents.
The $991,466 contract is funded by the Department of Interior.